counties. When I was engaging with the chair told me something which I thought was leadership. Leadership. That it got to a point where he said, you know what? We are walking out of this mediation. And this, because the National Assembly had said, we cannot move beyond 409 billion. So when they walked and he said, I will not reconvene. The minimum I want is 420. And the first thing that came to mind is that I remember I was seated here when the media was awash with news that the then governor of Mandera was pushing, funding people so that we make it difficult to ensure that their county does not lose money. When I sat down with him, he said, what we were fighting for at that time is to make sure that there's no county that has been left behind. When he refused to go back to the mediation committee until the money went up, what he said, even if I'm to go and sit and reconvene this meeting, the least I can be able to agree to is by making sure that small counties which have been left behind, West Pokot, I think is one of the small counties, Elgeyo Marakwet is another county, Vihiga County is another county, get affirmative action. So if you guys are not willing to increase money, out of the 4.49 billion that you're saying, that is the only thing you can do. The only way that I can sit here is by realizing that these small counties, and remember, Mr. Speaker, the chairperson is not from Elgeyo Marakwet. It's from a different county. He said, increase the money. Lucky enough, he came down to 415 billion, which took care of the 4.46 billion that was given as an affirmative action to smaller counties. That is leadership. And that is what we need to fight for. And that is the reality that we need to be talking about, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, as I stand here today, I'm quite happy that the Senate, which is the House of Union, these good, distinguished men and women who went there to sit down to discuss, to defend the counties, ensured two things. One, that for a single year, the fund moved to 28 billion. That supported all our county. Mr. Speaker, as you can hear, my voice is not very good because of certain challenges. But I had to come here today to support this because I know that the people of Narok County will be able to get more money during this financial year. I know that the people of Elgeyo Marakwet, with my vote, will be able to get more money. The people of Embu, the people of Tharaka-Nithi will be able to be given money. And so as the people who come to Nairobi to try and make a living will also be able to get additional revenue. So, Mr. Speaker, as I support this, I also want to make a few statements based on how we move forward. It is imperative, Mr. Speaker, that we now become cognizant of the danger that we are facing if we continue ignoring the plight of the Generation Z. Generation Z are speaking a language that most of us do not understand. Not because we do not want to understand, but because we choose not to understand. Because most of us have already lined our pockets. Most of us live in manicured mansions. Most of us drive huge cars. I'm sure there's no single senator here who does not drive a car which is less than $70,000 or maybe 10 million shillings. That's a fact. It becomes difficult sometimes for us to understand the problem that the Generation Z are facing. They're not sure of tomorrow. They're not sure of tomorrow. You know, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I read somewhere, and I was trying to write to respond to it. But I said, you know what, I will drive down to Kajiado to go to Eldam at home of this senior distinguished gentleman called Atwoli, when he said that it's about time that we move the animals from the Nairobi National Park and move them to Masai Mara so that people can encroach into the national park. When I heard that, I was livid, Mr. Speaker. And I said to myself, good Lord, what has come of this old man? Is it that he does not see the danger caused by rural-urban migration during this time when we in the Senate are fighting to send more money to counties? And it dawned on me that everyone is looking at Nairobi as the only place to run to. So it's about time, Mr. Speaker, that we either engage and really amend the Constitution to empower the Senate more, to empower the counties more, so that we stop this rural-urban migration, or the national government takes a journey of building new cities where people can be going in. But the thought of turning the National Reserve, Nairobi National Park, into a concrete jungle is something we should not be even entertained. So, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, let me once again appreciate the work of Senator Ali Roba. I have known Ali Roba for quite some time, and I appreciate his diligence, his agility, and dedication to service. Being here, if I was to come here and fight to defeat this, it will not benefit him or me. The reality is that we have to understand the circumstances that we lead in. I appreciate the work that you've done in sending 28 billion, additional 28 billion to counties. And I'm quite happy. And I hope that we can continue with this trajectory of making sure that we don't factor in what comes from the Brethren Institutes. If the day we say goodbye to IMF and World Bank is the day we'll begin developing as a nation. Our laws should be and shall be determined by our circumstances, but not other external circumstances that influence the way we make decisions in this country. That is critical. Because if we have to develop legislation, if we have to make laws based on what other jurisdictions or other governments think of, there's no way we'll ever be able to move out of these shackles. I was perplexed, Mr. Speaker, as I sit down, that today I had a young man, actually, there were about 3 of them who applied for visas to go to the United Kingdom. And the decision to award that, and this was through a government-funded program. So the government of Kenya was actually paying to train those people to be able to come back here and support this country. But a decision was made in Pretoria that even if the government is funding you to be able to go to the UK and study and come back and work here, the money that you have in your account is not sufficient to support you, even if that was being paid by the national government. And then they went further by saying, we have seen certain transactions in your bank statement that you've not been able to explain.